Sorry, folks. It looks like we had a little time warp thing going on there.
Maybe we found the Stargate.
That's what it was. We were in a Stargate, and we got shut down. We don't know why. We don't know if it was a server overload. It was the
white ladies.
Or if, what exactly happened. But so I know for the last 13 minutes or so, people are going, where'd they go?
So we had to set up again and finish up our
alien thing. Maybe we just got shot up into space.
No, we don't. We don't do aliens. We don't believe in aliens. Are you right?
I don't know what I'm doing. No, nothing changed in 13 minutes. I'm still whacked out.
We can continue where we left off, which was I had read in Luke about how a woman.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was going, but I won't do that this time
because you already did it.
Right.
Yeah. And they're continuing, so they heard.
And it gets a little old, my immaturity, don't you think? Sometimes.
No.
No. Okay.
No. It's too fun. So I wanted to share a story about. I'll call him Tony, and we'll say that Tony lived in.
Tony.
Tony.
Yeah, yo, Tony, huh?
But he lived in Madison, but he really didn't. I just want to say that because I don't really want to use his real name or his city, just out of respect, because you never know who's listening. But so it started out where Tony called us, and he said that his kids were seeing ghosts. And their mom blew it. It was his stepkids, and the mom blew it off. She was just like, okay, whatever, kids are kids. And I don't even really remember how old they were. But then he remembered some things that were happening to him. He was in the service.
Right.
And he
had some freaky stories, man.
Oh,
even freaky stories
for us
that we thought were freaky. We're like, what?
Well, his dad was... He was Christian, and when he went into the service, he had a bad falling out with his dad and his church and all this stuff, and so he was just angry. And so when he got in, what do you call it, the first 6 weeks? What do you call that?
Oh, basic training.
Basic training. He met some guys, and they were, he says, they were Satanists, and so they did a lot of stuff, and so at night when everybody was sleeping, they would sneak out or do whatever, and he did some kind of ritual.
Yeah, they performed these little rituals and stuff.
And he said he sold his soul to the devil. And we were like...
I got to expand on this a little bit, because now we're going to actually have a little extra time, because this is almost like another broadcast.
Right.
Because of the break, we had to wait. So it's like another... But when he was talking about some of the stuff, it was almost... He talked about time, how a time seemed to almost stop. He witnessed people walking... up walls.
Backwards up walls.
He witnessed things and saw things that were absolutely unexplained to him.
Yeah, he said that he saw demonic stuff that, even though he could see it in this realm, he knew it wasn't. It was like they were merging.
Right.
And yeah, he was scared. But
he told us some stuff, and I know just from the case and dealing with him and talking to him and everything about it that none of this was. BS. It was all very, very real, and it was... Because
it shook him up, really bad, to the point of tears.
He wasn't looking for publicity. That's our geriatric Springer Spaniel you're hearing whining in the background. We can't even yell at him because he's 16 years old, and he's deaf.
So, anyways, this guy...
I got to sign language him to be quiet. I'm doing it right now, but you can't see that because you're on a podcast. Duh.
So this guy gave his soul to the devil, he said. And we were trying to explain to him, you can't give your soul to the devil. Soul isn't yours. It's God's. So, but he was made to believe that he did. So he went through basic training with these guys, did whatever they were supposed to do. And then when they all branched off after basic training, he sort of lost touch with them. And he said he practiced it for a little bit, but just on his own, it wasn't anything. So then he just sort of let it go. But in the meantime, he was always seeing these apparitions or visions and night terrors of...
Well, the whole thing came about because he was afraid for his kids.
Well, when he was after basic training, he was seeing he said it was like a dog-like thing, and it was evil or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
but he was very specific on how it looked. But when he asked the kids about these ghosts or whatever, then one came to him and told him what it looked like, and it was exactly what he had seen.
That's when he started.
Then he knew.
Well, he wrote himself off, figuring, you know what, I'm doomed, but I certainly don't want my family to be doomed.
That's right,
and,
so we went out to help him. And
this is one of them Cinderella stories because it turned out very, very, very well.
Yeah, he was. So when we did this with him, I mean, just the stuff that was going on, and we try to explain, your soul is not yours. You can't. So when again, another case of demons lying to him, and he just gave up on life. And so we went to his house and we prayed with him and cleansed the house, and it was awesome. But during that, I mean, this guy had scratches on him that just appeared while we were praying.
While we were there.
And then we have a picture of him that we took, and while we were praying over him, and he had no eyes.
Oh, that picture. We have that picture, yeah.
And he had no eyes. It was really scary. And then the EVPs that we got, because we had recordings just to be safe around the house. And what we did was we recorded, and we heard some crazy stuff, like very demonic. There was no doubt that it wasn't demonic. Well, then after that, he decided he was going to start going to church, and he brought his kids to church.
He took our advice.
Yeah.
And because we can walk into a house and we can cleanse it and we can do all this great Bible stuff, and that's all wonderful, but if you don't do your part, it's all coming back.
And when the Bible says that if you don't do what you're supposed to do, those spirits return, and they come back 7 more with them, 7 times worse. So that's pretty dangerous. We also had a case in Iron Mountain, and that was pretty bad too. It was an older couple, and they owned this farmhouse, and they were thinking of selling it, but they said they knew it was haunted. And I think in the past episodes, you guys probably heard us talking about the dead flies.
Flones.
The floons. And this was that farmhouse. But so when we got there, they told us, we it's an old farmhouse, but it was Quaker land because we did research, and it was Quaker land. And the people that lived there, the Quaker, there was more than one family, it was a whole bunch. And they had gotten into some, I don't understand this weird stuff as far as sacrificing kids and children and stuff, the Quakers, so they buried the bodies in the ground.
It was like a brand of Quakers.
A brand?
Yeah,
like oatmeal.
It's like I forget what they called them, but there was another.
Yeah,
it was like another sect of
the Quakers.
So it was like great Quaker 2.
Oh, Q2, man, that's it.
And so they did some things that the normal Quakers didn't do, or something, and it was it was a little freaky. Yeah.
So when we got there, I mean, we weren't even there 10 minutes, and we just started walking around the grounds. I almost vomited because I had vertigo. I felt so sick. And so that negative energy that was around there. And were there actual spirits there? I don't know, where we were right at that moment, but I just knew that the energy from them being there made me sick. Just because I'm sensitive anyways. But so we had a member there of our team who was Wiccan, and she tried her ritual and stuff, and freaked the people out because they were very old.
When she pulled out the knife.
The knife. But
oh, hello, you just brought a dagger out. Oh, not
we
good.
did not prepare the clients for that, but
they prepare us for that. We didn't know it.
But we knew her, so we knew it was
Okay, you
fine.
just have everybody sit down. You pull out the knife. Don't worry, I won't use it.
Well, it didn't work. Obviously, the whole ritual didn't work. And they ended up calling us back, and we were planning on going back. We had other investigations. We were so busy. But by the time that we were ready to go back, 1 week their barn burnt down. And then the following week, they had a huge house fire, and they just let it all go. So I don't find that a coincidence. So I don't know.
No.
Spirits use up our energy in general. That's probably partly why I got sick. But they're just dangerous to have around. So I know many people want to believe that it's, someone that they love who passed on, or a harmless spirit that's trapped or whatever. But their presence will use up our energy. Do you remember after our cases, we were always hungry?
Oh, very hungry.
Yeah. It's like you lose, I don't know, your vitality or something around spirits. So
that's when I had the fluffy pancakes.
French toast.
Oh, fluffy French toast.
Yes. Talking to spirits.
It's a big no-no.
That's right.
Don't talk to them.
You don't really know who it is. They could be demonic. They use up your energy, makes you tired, gives you headaches, makes you crabby.
You could open up a porthole.
No, not a portal.
To a Stargate.
No Stargate.
And the spirits could enter inside of you.
That is so...
And then you would no longer be clean.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Well, you can't open up spiritual doors if you're talking to spirits because it just brings in other things.
Spiritual door.
And for us, being Christian, God just says not to. So we're obedient to that. And we know why.
Don't play it, homie, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't play with a ghost because a ghost don't play.
We had another case in Kenosha.
I remember that too.
Yeah, there was a teen, and he talked to spirits as a little boy, and I guess his family sort of thought it was cool or whatever, and the mom ended up buying a Ouija board.
Of course.
Well, actually, wait, yeah, when he was a little boy, he was talking to spirits, but it went through to his teenage years, and he was about 15 when we went. And his mom bought a Ouija board, and they had like a really big family. Huge family. In fact, they're like 2 or 3 houses down or across the street, and their other family members lived. So they were all hanging out all the time. And so when they got this Ouija board, it was like a big thing. They like partied with this thing. Hey, man, let's party. Let's do the Ouija. So they got their friends involved or whatever. And all of a sudden, they had more than one ghost. They had more than 2 ghosts. These spirits were 3 and 4 and whatever.
It was no longer fun.
Yeah. And so things started happening, and they were freaked out. They called us in, and to this day, I still wonder if they called us in because they were excited about it or they wanted help.
And we did have some of those people that just wanted verification that they had. And that's really something we're not interested in doing. We're there to help people, not to...
Yeah, we get rid of them.
You know, it's like, you know...
Yeah, that's why I don't say we're paranormal investigators, because we don't really necessarily deal with that. We deal with the spiritual aspects.
We're like the doctors.
Yeah.
You don't come and visit us. You come to give you answers.
Doctor,
help you.
give me the news.
Why are you saying that's weird? We're in a podcast. Be real.
Whatever. I can learn it from you.
Ew.
Yeah. So anyways, regarding this family, this kid was always sick. So, and the mom, she had diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Go figure. Now, the son ended up having like all these problems. He was always in trouble. He was diagnosed with ADD and bipolar. He started having heart issues. So to them, they were saying like, you know, you're going to have to, I don't know, stop being a troublemaker or whatever. But then the kid was saying, but it's not me. And he's like, half the time, I don't remember doing the stuff that I'm doing. So it was just interesting. We believed him, though, because when we talked to him, he was pretty sincere. So when we went to the house, they had, like, everybody come. It was, like, this huge party.
Oh, remember all the people going in and out? We couldn't even walk into rooms.
Yeah, we couldn't even really hold a...
Are you... Yeah, they were all, like... and they had the younger female teenagers downstairs, and they're all like, oh, this is my friend Nancy, and she just wanted to come and check this out, and then you guys were coming, and it's like, oh my god, it's turned into a party. This is not what we're here for.
And we try to help them.
Then they followed us to the other house, because we had to go to the other house too.
Yeah, and it was like, oh my goodness, it was ridiculous. But the sad part about the story is that 2 years later, I read in the paper that the boy committed suicide. And I searched up and down trying to find, because I didn't have the contact information for the mom anymore. And I ended up finding it, I think, through the newspaper article or something, or an obituary. And I emailed her. And she told me that he left a note and that he was hearing voices. He was waking up at 3 a.m. No one believed him, and he wanted everything to stop.
Well, you know, and this is sad, but this is how a lot of this can go eventually for some people. And if you don't, it's a game you just can't play. You're dealing with something you can't see and you don't know. And
I call it spiritual Russian roulette.
And eventually it'll win if you don't do something about it. And there's something that you have to do about it. For many people, it's more than they want to do. Yeah. They don't want to admit that they've done some things wrong. They don't want to admit that this isn't, this is just for fun and we're okay with it. It's like, well, you just don't know. Eventually, it's, now what? There's no way to fix it once you're gone.
It's sad. It was really, really sad. And then, well, the mom ended up, after he died, she I don't know at what point she did this, but she called in a psychic, or, you got psychics, and you got mediums, you got clairvoyants, and there's also something called empaths. So I don't recommend ever calling in a psychic or medium if you have issues, because what happens is you just don't know who they are. You don't know what kind of stuff, what they do, or
who
what
they're hearing from.
Right, or what they're going to bring with you.
I mentioned before.
I mean, with them.
I do know and believe that they are hearing things as far as psychics, mediums. Many of them are very real and know their stuff. But being married to you and on the route that we've went down in the past, I know there's times when we don't hear from who we want to hear from.
Right.
Information sounds good, and that's a lot of times what will happen with psychics, mediums, and such, is they'll get information, and in the beginning, that information sounds good to the listener, makes sense, because Satan, the demonic world, whatever, always mixes truth and lies.
Yeah.
And we'll give you a little more truth in the beginning, because that's going to give you a solid foundation to belief and understanding. Oh, great, this is true. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're right, that did happen. Oh, that's great. And you follow that, you dig a little deeper, a little deeper, a little deeper, and all of a sudden, a little lie comes. Well, this is what you need to do. Okay, well, everything else has been true. Why wouldn't I believe this?
Exactly.
And you go a little further, and before you know it, you're into something, and he's got a hold of you, and he's in charge now. You're not. And
by that time, you're like, I don't know what I did wrong. And so I don't ever recommend that. And then you do have people who are what's called an empath, and that's a person who can physically tune into the emotional experience of a person or a place, or that they're just sensitive to the spirit realm. But that's something that's totally different than